All right, looks like it's 9 o'clock here on the West Coast, so we'll get started. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're calling in from. If you're looking to get more out of performance analytics or better understand how to configure a specific area, you are in the right spot here at Performance Analytics Office Hours. My name is Tom Pasek. I'm a Senior Technical Product Marketing Manager here at ServiceNow, working with our Performance Analytics team. Welcome to any new folks who haven't been here before. Just a couple reminders on logistics before we get started. Keep in mind, these sessions are for you. So if you have questions, comments, please feel free to bring them to these meetings and let us know. You do all have the power to unmute yourself from the Zoom meeting, something we've been able to do with the audience sizes we've had so far. Just please keep in mind while our presenters are talking, if you can keep yourself on mute and try to minimize any background noise or disruptions there. And if you do have a question, feel free to go off mute. You can also just pop in a text chat via Zoom's Q&A feature as well. And we'll go through and at the end of the meeting, go through any of the questions that have been submitted there. One final reminder, for those of you who would love to see everyone at Knowledge 2019, which is coming up in about just a month now. So it's happening May 5th through 9th in Las Vegas. If you need more information on the conference, you can find that at knowledge.servicenow.com. There'll be some great content that we're presenting in the breakout sessions. We also have a large assortment of performance analytics and reporting labs that may be of interest to this group. So you can get some hands-on experience configuring some of these things, also meet some of the product managers in our team that's traveling in to help put on those labs for you. So it's a great opportunity to meet some of those folks. And that is it for me right now. I'm going to turn it over to a special presenter we have this week. Marta Penzo is joining us, product manager from our Amsterdam office, who's going to give you guys a look at the new analytics hub we released in Madrid. So Marta, I'll turn it over to you and stop sharing.
Hi, everybody. So yes, as Tom said, I'm Marta Penzo. I'm based in Amsterdam with the performance analytics and reporting team, and I'm part of the product management team. So I will showcase today the Analytics Hub. The Analytics Hub in Madrid is replacing the detail scorecard that you might have worked before with. So the Analytics Hub is a tool, an exploratory tool to help understand and analyze the patterns in your data and to perform timely action to improve your processes. So as before, also for the Analytics Hub, how it was for the detail scorecard, is it possible to access it from the PA widget? So I am on a dashboard, and when I click on one of the widgets, in this case, it's my number of resolved incidents, I can actually see the Analytics Hub in full-fledged. So I'm now in the overview tab. We have two tabs, the overview and the compare. On the overview tab, as you can see, we can have like a main score that is like the latest score that was collected for this indicator. And we have an overview, immediate overview, or like how our target, the target that we had set, is performing at the moment. So we have a target that is set to 34. So actually at the moment, we are not performing that well based on that target, and we will need some more time to actually reach the target. What we have added as a new functionality from the detail scorecard is actually the search for breakdowns and elements. So for example, if I search for moderate, it will open the breakdown panel, and it will actually display to me the element that has the moderate word label in it. We can do the same also for the entire breakdown. So I can search for category, and then when open it, I can actually see the breakdowns elements in the list with an overview chart about how each category is performing for the past 60 days. On the breakdown panel, some announcements on the functionalities have been like the ability to sort based on the element name, to sort based on the score value, and based on the change. Navigating to a second level is available. So I will actually go to the first level, in this case, to category hardware, and from there, opening again the breakdown panel and the priority, and to navigate to a second level. We still allow 2 levels of breakdowns in the analytics tab as in the widgets. So going back to our main indicator, closing the breakdown panel, you can see that now we are actually visualizing the score. But what has been added in the analytics tab is actually the possibility to visualize the change and the change percentage. So in this case, now we are visualizing the change percentage for the past 60 days. The visualization options, so displaying column or line, and I will go back to spline as before. We have a statistics panel that will actually refresh based on the time range that has been selected. The time range can select a custom, and then we'll apply or right here, and then it will actually refresh the chart with the range that it was selected. On the right side, you can see the panels that will actually allow to create and edit targets, thresholds, and comments. You can see over here there is already 1 target that I can display at the moment. But I can actually change the value on the target for that global target. So I will put 40, and you will see immediately refreshed on the chart. Same with the possibility to actually remove the target that was just created. Threshold, also over here, the possibility to create global and personal. For global, you still need to have the roles that were needed also in the previous detail scorecards. So be or PA target admin or PA threshold admins. To view the whole analytics hub, you still need the PA viewer role. We will create now a new threshold, an all-time high, and will display immediately on the chart. Same for the comments. We have added an integration with the continual improvement management application. So over here, you can see there's been an improvement initiative to actually increase the number of resolved incidents. Is started on January 30th and has actually ended on February 24th. the target was 34, so that's the target that you can see currently on the chart, and by the end date, actually the target was met and surpassed. More initiatives can be created, but only one initiative per time is allowed. Now I will navigate to the Analytics Hub from the Analytics Hub list. So what before was called the scorecard on the menu, now it's renamed to Analytics Hub. I can search for I'm opening the Analytics Hub from the list, and I will showcase another functionality that it's the year-over-year that has been added with the new Analytics Hub. So now you can see the comparison between the November 2nd and January 11th, between the years of how much data actually is available at the moment that has been collected. The year-over-year is available also in combination with the aggregation. So it's possible to have a month sum. So in this case, we are seeing January, February, and March for the different years. There is the ability to see the records that compose the total score for that day. And the button is on the right side. And over here, there is like the record list. And you will see the 272 records that are for the day. On the compare, it's possible to select any day in the past and actually see which is the delta between the November 12th in this case and January 11th. So I can see that 59 incidents were moved out from the open incidents.
Okay. Thank you, Marta. Okay, so there were a few questions. Are there any questions related to Analytics Hub so far? I think there was one. If there are going to be any courses on Analytics Hub at Knowledge? Well, Analytics Hub is part of PA, so it's like using the detailed scorecard. And yeah, so
we will showcase during the labs also some of the functionalities of the Analytics Hub.
Yeah. And you can always find more details in our docs, and yeah, where all these different functionalities and different use cases can be explained and what each of these buttons does. Okay, so let's go back to the questions then. So Camille asked a question. So the first one was answered by Peter. The second one is if a cascading interactive filter can be built that would be as 3 sets of assignment groups. Second level would be the individual assignment group of a set, where the assignment groups are determined by a phrase contained in the description. Theoretically, yes, and it can be done, but linking one level with another with short description is highly not recommended. Either way, the link between one level of interactive filter with the other is based on the value of a field. So I don't think you really want to have it by a small part of the value. short description. I'd rather create a field so that you will have an easy way to navigate from one level to another. So, yeah.
How would we go about that, though?
I'm sorry?
How would I go about that?
To create a new field, you mean? So you mentioned that you want to link from one level to another using a description. So what exactly are you trying to pick up from the short description of the assignment group or of the incident?
How the assignment groups are broken down into by development manager and team.
I'm not sure I completely understand. So if you're using the manager as a second level, is that what you're saying? And then you want, okay, I think I need to become the presenter.
I'm gonna stop.
Share my screen.
The top level, all of the assignment groups are under a department head, and then they would break out under that into different projects that they work on.
Okay.
Not all teams work on the same project.
Give me a second. Okay. So on the first level, you would like to have the name of the manager actually of the groups, right? Do I understand correctly?
The top level is actually the department head.
The department head.
Manager.
Okay, but the department head somehow has to be linked with your assignment group, right?
Assignment group, manager, department head.
Okay, and you're using, okay, I think I understand. Because the department is a reference. Yes, it's a reference field. So, and for each of the departments, we have the manager. So, and this is the department head. So there are reference fields. So where would you like to use the link with the description? Because these are reference fields, which means that we store the ID of the record. So the link between the three levels can be done using the department head. So
where I'm using the description field now is in the assignment group.
okay, so what I'm trying to say is that you don't really need that. So your first level of interactive filter should use the department head, which are all the users that are the heads of the department. That's the first level, which is the easiest one. And then the second level will be all the managers of the assignment groups that have as department head the one that's selected earlier. And the third level will be the assignment group, right?
It's not that simple, because within the managers, some of the teams will go to a different project, so I need to be able to break them out by projects within the managers.
Okay, so you want to, okay, I think we might need
I
to
really,
if it would be better to have a call so that we can discuss a bit better, and you can also demonstrate in your instance what exactly you're trying to achieve, and I'll be able to help you better. Okay? I'm going to send you my email and we can take this offline. Okay, Camille?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. Next question. Spotlight question. So, we implemented Incident Spotlight, and it was super easy to do using the guided setup. We are now implementing Spotlight for problem change and request, and for some reason the default tables for problem Spotlight, change Spotlight, and request Spotlight were not created, and instead we were prompted to create new tables.
We have one.
Well, those are not tables, they're actually database views. So what we do, I don't know which release you are in. So I don't remember which release we started creating the database views automatically. Kingston or London?
In London,
I have to check
in
that.
London automatically.
In London, we create them automatically. So in London, when you are creating your Spotlight, the database view is created automatically, and probably you might be in a different release. You are in London. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I actually man database views instead of tables. I'm sorry, I misspoke. But for when we implemented Incident Spotlight, the database view was automatically created. And when we implemented the other ones, the database views were not automatically created. And so when we say create new, then it wants us to do U underscore problem underscore spotlight. And so then it seems like there's a lot of places where I need to maybe find that and change from the default to the new one.
I understand. So I think that it's better for you to raise an incident on high, because this is a bit strange. If you are in London, something might have gone wrong, or we'll have to figure out exactly what happened. I would suggest you raise an incident on high, and our support team will find out why you had this issue, and they can explain and help you understand and avoid it in the future.
Okay, thank you very much.
There was a question regarding by month sum and by month sum plus. So in general, all the different frequencies we have with the plus icon in the end, they include the current month. So if it is by week sum plus, that means that the current week, even though it is Wednesday, it will be included. The ones that do not contain the plus, they exclude the current week, month, quarter. Okay, so that's the generic comment. All this information, you can find them in our docs. They are explained there as well. So trying to read through the questions now. Okay. Okay, there are some questions about Analytics Hub there. So, and when would this be ready to be covered for training? London versus Madrid. Can we label the lines since both have the same color? Well, at the moment, it's not possible, but I think we are working on it currently.
Yeah.
So it will be available in a next release or release? Release. Okay. So it will be available in the next release. Is there a new way performance analytics can help in identifying recurring incidents? Well, performance analytics is not a tool that identifies recurring incidents. Performance analytics, well, it depends actually how you configure your instance. When you first you need to define what do you call a recurring incident. So is it based on which fields? So you have somehow to specify the criteria that you consider two incidents that one is recurring of the other, right? So once you have that, and then you can put this logic either on the instance itself, on the table, or on the records level itself, or you can implement it in PA. My suggestion will be to do it on the table itself so that you can use both reporting and PA. But I think that's the best way out, because you will be able to create reports, and then you can have a trend as well using PA. I hope, sir, that answers your question. And moving forward. Okay, apparently there were answers there. We created calculated fields to calculate the variance of allocated versus actual hours using the resource allocation table. How can we use calculated fields to be visible at the resource Aggregate monthly table. You calculate the fields to calculate the variance allocated versus actual table. Christina, I don't know which table you created this calculated field, but if there is a link between the resource aggregate monthly table, is it a table or is it a database view? I don't. It sounds like aggregate monthly table. I don't know if it's a table itself. So if it is a table, if you can walk to the table where you created those calculated fields, you'll be able to show the field on the list or in the form. But I'm not sure I know how the database structure is and if you have reference fields from one table to another. Resource allocation. I don't think I have this plugin installed now.
The problem with the calculated field is the value you see on the screen will be different from the value stored in.
Okay, but
And I don't know how they calculate. They never update the record. The collection number.
so I performed that ad hoc and the values for blank. Okay, what you need to keep in mind for calculated fields is the following. So calculated fields are stored in the database, although they are called calculated. So the way the platform calculates this field, we have a business rule that runs after insert and update on the table that you are referring to. And this is the last before the action you perform, before insert or before update. It should be the last business rule running. So there is an order in the business rules that you execute. So it should be the last one. And after that, we store the value. So if you do not perform any update on the record after you initially created, there is no value stored on the database at all. So you have to keep in mind this limitation. In the list, you might see the values, but when you actually create a report to schedule a report, which is not an interactive session for the users, you might see different values from what you would expect, or you will see null values, which are usually the insert. If you really want to use it in the way you are trying to use it at the moment, I'd suggest you create, to remove the calculation from the field and set it in a business rule, so that every time the record gets updated, you will have the value stored, and then you'll be able to use it in reporting and in PA, of course. Now, any best practices for word clouds? Word clouds, I know how to easily get to underlying data and use the search function effectively. Well, Mark, when you create your text analytics and you select a field, which usually we use source description, for example, the words that your end users are using is something that you cannot really predict, right? So that is usually based on what your end users use. What you can do is just limit all the words or exclude the words that are not really helpful for you. And that will be something that will make your text analytics look much better, because you will see how your end users are searching and the logic, the way they actually phrase their questions for you. I think that's it. Okay, and then the next question is from Edward. Is there any way to have a time frame selectable? My management would like to be able to change time frame from weekly to monthly, quarterly, and year to date. Edward, you can do that, but that depends on where you are. If you are on the Analytics Hub, as Marta demonstrated earlier, you can change that. I suppose it depends on the page where you want to view the data. We also on the widgets, well, we have the option to show 7 days. We just determine the period for the end users, but you cannot change that on the fly on the dashboard, so while someone is viewing the dashboard. Does that answer your question, Edward? Okay, I'm using moving to the next question. How can I create a report that shows open incidents by month with two trend lines, new incidents by month and closed incidents by month? Management want to see work in progress. Is it going up or going down? Okay, so there are two ways to do that. You can do it either with PA. You can also do it with reporting, but reporting you will get those two thread lines by using, you can add another data source on your report. In the previous meeting we had, I demonstrated how you can add a second data set in the report. I don't know if you were present, but I will show quickly. So the table is incident. Sorry, it's a bit slow. My instance has a small issue. Give me a second. Did I lose internet? Okay, it started loading. I'm sorry about this. So it's work in progress, and we are going to select there incident. So the type will be a trend. Okay. And then what you need to do, you have to click here on the upper right on this icon, and then you can add another data set in your report, which is more or less the same form that we used earlier to create the first report. So this one we'll call it resolved or closed. So it should be on the same table. Actually, you can add from different tables data sets, only the drill downs are limited to the same table so that you used in your first report. And here you can use, of course, should be the same time series. When we save it, well, fortunately, it's exactly, I select the same, I didn't select any filters.
Yeah.
One. Okay, so as you can see, you can have two different lines, and all you have to do is just change the conditions on each of the data sets. In one case, you'll have the open, and in the other one, you'll have the result. Moving forward, okay, Christine, well, okay, if the values are blank, it is exactly what I mentioned earlier, so you have to actually change the logic that you are calculating the field. Instead of a calculated field, as I said earlier, create a business rule and you should be okay. And then we have monthly PA indicators set up with AVP and VP breakdowns, which are mapped of the assignment group. We are struggling with a solution when AVP and VPs change roles and move to different groups in the organization. Do you have any recommendations on the best way to handle these changes without having to rerun multiple indicators and perform a historical collection of the AVP and VP breakdowns? The problem that you have here is because we store the actual users, we store the sysid, the internal ID of the users, the manager or the manager of the assignment group. Unfortunately, the historic values will not change, and that's something that you'll have either to recollect, or maybe what you could do, you could use the assignment group and then use a related breakdown. And because the related breakdown link will be based on the current record of the assignment group, then you will be able to get what you need. So Ben, theoretically, what you can do is have your assignment group as a breakdown, and then you collect also the managers of the assignment groups. Let's just take this easy example. And then what you need to do is, since you have those two breakdowns, you create a breakdown relation between them, where the manager of the assignment group is the field that links it with the manager, with a user table, and that way you will always have the current manager of the group, because but you will have to use the related breakdown, not the actual breakdown that we collected the values from. That's the only workaround that you can have for now. Otherwise, yes, historic collection is a way to move forward, although yeah, I can understand that this is not something that you would like to do, because you have to be very careful with your breakdowns, if they are able to be collected historically or not, and because the indicator values will be recalculated even if you collect only for one breakdown, you have to be quite careful with that. So yeah, I hope this answers your question. And next question. Okay, did I miss any question? Yeah, Christine, in the project workspace under the financial tab, there is a field called variance that is under the breakdown source. The project workspace. I think this is not the PA field.
No, PPM.
No, this is the project management. So the PA does not have any fields on any other tables, Christine. So PA is just you create your configuration under performance analytics, and then you can collect historically or daily or all the rest of the tables. So PA does not add any fields on any other table unless you create them as a custom field. So out of the box, there is no.
So that field called breakdown column on the project workspace is not a PA field. It is coming from a table and being displayed on that. I'm trying to figure out where it came from.
Yeah. Do you have admin access on the instance? If
No,
you
I don't.
do, oh, okay. You can ask one of your admins. It's pretty simple. If he right-click on the label of the field, he can navigate directly to the dictionary, and he can tell you from which table this field comes from.
Yeah, I had him try to do that while watching him, but it's on a workspace. It's on the project workspace. If you type in your left nav project workspace.
Yeah, I don't think I have that.
You don't have that in?
Yeah, I don't have the plugin installed.
Oh, okay.
So
it's on like this pre-created like dashboard kind of. I don't know how it's built, but it has the ability to build your own table or your own report, and it has a field called variance, and we can't find it anywhere on. And he's an admin, and I've kind of watched him try to find it, and we're struggling with finding it.
Okay, Christine, I'm going to ping you my email. If you can send me an email, I'll check it for you, and I'll let you know where it comes from.
Okay, thank you.
Just
appreciate
give
it.
me the instance, the release of the instance, or you can also raise an incident on high, and someone can answer this question to you. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any other questions? No, I don't see any other questions. Okay. Quick question about PA roles and sharing dashboards. Is it correct that when a user is granted a PA viewer role, they will still only see the dashboards that have been shared with them? Would they also then see the out-of-the-box dashboards, incident premiums? Is those dashboards just restricted? Okay. We're going to have, actually, I'm planning in the future a session about sharing and dashboards and permissions around dashboards. So PA viewer has access to view all, I mean, let me take it. Dashboards. Actually, let me create a user. They have access to all the dashboards that are shared with them. And now the out-of-the-box dashboards, when they are being installed, the ones from the out-of-the-box content, some of them are deactivated, so they might not see them, and only system administrators and the PA administrators, actually the PA administrators will be able to see them, and they have to activate them so that the PA viewer will be able to view those dashboards. In case you create a new dashboard on your own and you share it, then it depends. If you share it with a role, then of course everyone will with that role will be able to see the dashboard. So users grant the peer review, they will only see the dashboards that can be shared. See the out of the box. The dashboards will just yes, they will see the out of the box, and because most of the out of the box are shared with them. And Dylan, did I answer the question, or there's something unclear? Okay, let me show you how you can share. So up here on the upper right, there is an option to share a dashboard. So as you can see here, you can share it with a specific group or more users and roles. So what you need to do is just click on the ad, and then you say, okay, so this is viewer, and then you select the role or the group or the user, depending. And then as you can see here, you can also add a message that will be shared with the users that have this role, for example. And you can also specify the ones that have this role can view or edit a specific dashboard you're currently sharing. The moment you click share, they will be able to view everything. Yeah. So all the out of the box are shared with PA viewers. Thanks. Basically, we'd want to be able to grant a user PA viewer so that they could look at indicator scorecard, but without overloading them with a bunch of dashboards that they don't need. Okay, that's interesting. So you want them to see just the analytics hub of specific indicators, but you don't want them to see dashboards? That's an interesting use case. But yeah, you could give them the PA viewer role, and you can, but you'll give them access to the analytics hub instead of giving them access to dashboards. Okay. Are there any other questions?
All right, I think that might do it for this week then. Well, thank you everyone who attended. This is a meeting that happens every 2 weeks. So you can use the same URL to join again for our next session. Hoping to see you then on April 10th. Thank you. Have a great day.